Apollo 17, the last supposed deep space EVA. Let me set the scene. The astronauts are supposedly coming back from the moon, heading for Earth, doing thousands of miles an hour, and they decide to do a last minute EVA to nip outside the spacecraft and retrieve the cartridges of film. Bit of a silly design there, putting the actual access point to the film on the outside of the spacecraft. Anyone with a bit of common sense would have done that from the inside. So already that was done, set up like that, simply to give us this EVA pantomime. But again, we're just going to look at the footage, and it doesn't take much to work out all this is nonsense. We know this anyway, as the moon landing's got less credibility than Santa Claus and the Tooth Fairy. So let's have a look at the footage. I'm going to take two pictures, one at the start, one at the end, and the shadow of truth is going to crush this silly space pantomime for the charade that it is. Let's have a look.
You're a long way from home. We don't want to lose you. Okay.
Right, our mate here has just started filming. All we're interested in is the shadows cast off the boosters. Okay, you can see it on the right there. I'm going to take a snap picture here live. There it is. I'm not going to bore you with this pantomime performance in space. Link in the description to the video. But what I am going to do is forward it 15 minutes, bearing in mind this pantomime prop or rocket is supposedly hurtling towards Earth at thousands of miles an hour. So we'll get ourselves 15 minutes later pretty much to here at the end of it, and we'll take another picture of this shadow of truth. There. And what I'm going to do now is compare the shadow on both the pictures, which are 15 minutes apart supposedly, but strangely enough there's no change in the angle of the shadow. Bear with me. Okay, here's a picture snapshot from the start of the EVA panto footage. Obviously we're only interested in the shadow. And 15 minutes later. 15 minutes earlier and 15 minutes later. Quite clearly, quite obviously, the shadow has not moved whatsoever, one bit. I'd expect it to change if this was a spacecraft hurtling through the vacuum towards Earth with a single light source. I'd expect that shadow to change slightly over the course of 15 minutes. It doesn't, which just tells you the light is a fixed frame of reference, and this, like we know it anyway, is just a silly pantomime to get you to believe in absurdities like the moon landing and of course living on a cannonball flying through a vacuum. The Apollo program is one of the best ways to wake people up. Shut the window there, bit noisy on the old big inner city. Like I said, the moon landing is one of the easiest ways to wake people up to this bullshit. It's literally a collection of models, tacky footage, pantomime performances, daft stories, and like errors left, right and centre. It's obvious. And again here, the shadow of truth has slapped the deceit out of the Apollo 17 pantomime, as we saw over the course of 15 minutes. There's no change whatsoever to that shadow. You'd expect if there was a single light source and this thing was going thousands of miles an hour through space, I'd expect that shadow to move, the angle of the shadow to move a bit. It doesn't. Why? Because the craft is just stationary, the lighting is stationary. This is just a pantomime prop to get you to believe in absurdities. Yet again, NASA's own footage debunks their own claims. Again, like I said previous, it's not difficult with this moon landing stuff. Most of it I watch to cheer myself up. It's comedy gold.